It's you, me, radio, touching your airwaves like something you've never heard before.
You, me,
Yeah, we gonna have a celebration.
Hi, this is Dale Brown from Dale Brown and Truth, and you're listening to You Me Radio. Positive entertainment 24/7.
Let's give God some praise.
International, 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 international. You wait your life. International, international, international. You wait your life. International, international. You wait your life.
Let's talk
Relationships on You Me Radio.
So, what are we talking about?
Marriage, dating, parenting, business.
And love, emotions, sex.
It's a conversation with me, Lady Misty,
and DJ KTE.
on everything from hot topics to taboos.
Join us Mondays at 9 p.m. live on UME Radio.
Follow us at Let's Talk Relationship Show on Facebook or on Yumi Radio on Instagram. Let's talk relationships, arguments for the grown.
Get the UME Radio app to listen wherever you are. That is UME Radio. One word.
UME Radio. Positive entertainment 24/7. Subscribe on YouTube and click the notification bell.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Relationships here on a Monday night on You Me Radio. I hope that you all are doing well out there tonight. Of course, every Monday night we come on here, we have amazing and interesting topics for you to
Yes, we
listen
do.
to and to engage with us in. And tonight is no different. So, tonight we have another interesting and conversational topic that we're going to delve in tonight. And tonight, the topic is
Mother
Mother on the
on the
Edge. Mother on the Edge. Yes.
Big one,
I
huh?
wonder what's that all about. So,
That one
yeah,
sounds
it's a big
very
one.
serious.
It is a conversational topic. It's going to be one that is thought provoking. And of course, we hope as well to provide support. So, tonight we have some experts in the business to share their experiences with us. Of course, I say every week that we are big on gratitude. So, we want to say thanks to all our supporters, our partners, our viewers, our listeners who each week allow us to be on air and on the show. We learned a lot from you last year. So please join us in the comment section. Or if you have any questions, burning questions, any topics you want to discuss, or if you need any advice to any questions you may have, please feel free to email us at ltranswers@gmail.com. That's ltranswers@gmail.com. It is our hope that this program will provide support for you to have healthy, amazing relationships. Cheers to love and happiness. I am Lady Misty, and I am here with my amazing host,
DJ KTE, and it
That's
has been
right.
a great season so far.
Yes.
Lady Misty, how you doing today? You're looking pretty in the in the cool mode. I
I'm
see that, the
trying to be.
cool
I am
mode.
actually. I'm to be very honest with you, DJ KT. I'm very tired. It was a very overwhelming
Oh.
day, and when you don't feel so accomplished, I did have some struggles today, physically and otherwise. So I'm not feeling so great, but I am here pushing forward. I can't let down the LTR tribe at all. And
You're such a trooper. I'm gonna
yeah,
just pray you up tonight. Make sure
thank
that
you so
you get the
much.
extra spunk. I'll tell you.
Thank you so much. But I know the family's out there with me tonight, so I am in good hands. I am
There
in
you
good
go.
hands. Yes. So how are you? How was your day?
My day was quite eventful. Yeah, there's an old saying that change is not always fun, and
Yes.
change sometimes is painful, and change is
Mm-hmm.
always necessary. But
Yes.
it was a good day. I always look at things on the glass half full. So when I do that, it tend to not seem so
That's
crazy.
always a good way to look at things.
Yeah. Yep. Yep, yep. But all in
Right.
all, I'm well,
That's
and
always a good
I'm
way to
here.
look at things.
Yes,
Keeping
yes,
it positive.
yes. Positive vibe,
Keeping it positive.
vibrations.
I love that. Yes. All right.
uh,
Uh, it is it is April 26th, 2021. Yes, and the time is now. You want to tell us the time, DJ KTE?
the time right now is 9:07 to be exact. And hey,
All
we're here with
right.
another great segment, as we say earlier. So I want to say thank you so
Yes,
much
sir.
for joining us. We are live on YouTube. All the YouTube tribes out there. Um, and we really want to say hello to everyone that is watching. Please let us know where you're joining
Yes.
us from. This year, we want to make sure that no, we're connecting. That's the idea. We want to connect. So please leave us a comment, questions, or shout out. We can also be heard on all the following apps. Let me see.
Yes, we can be heard on the Apple Play Store, Google Play Store, of course, iTunes, Podcast, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Google Podcast, Podbean, TuneU, Live 365, iHeartRadio, of course, UME Radio, TuneU, Stream Finder, Amazon Music. We of course we are live on Facebook right now. Player FM, Stitcher,
Yeah.
Spotify,
All right.
and all the others. So come on, we are here. We are here. So come on and join us. If you're over there on YouTube, you we want to say good night to you. Let me run over there to see what's happening over there. Remember as well, listeners, we are also on Facebook. We are live on Facebook. So just in case
Live, live,
you can't catch up over
live.
there on YouTube, we are over there on Facebook. Don't forget to check out our handles over there on Instagram. So you can find LTR UME Radio on Instagram. Of course, our individual handles are I am Lady Misty and DJ KTE, the entrepreneur. You can find us over there on Instagram. So you can go over there, check us
Yes,
out,
yes,
and
yes, yes,
keep
yes,
abreast
indeed. Yes,
as to
and
what is happening.
Lady Missy, if I can just put a cap
Yes.
on this right here, because as you heard
Mhm.
those different names that we talked about, the different networks, it is that when it comes us to us as individuals, we are all
Yes,
a walking business, whether we believe it or not. And so as we
that's
network
right.
together, it's not about showing off; it's about showing that the power of network. Each have its own
Yes,
personality, its own style, its own reach,
right.
and if you can combine it together, and we as Black folks, that's what we need to be at, knowing how to
Hmm.
network together and build an empire. So
That's
that's where
right.
we are right now. Yeah.
That's right. I want to
Mhm.
say good night to the LTR tribe over there on YouTube. I see you, Nas. Good night. Good night, Coach Raquel. Good night. Good night also to Marsha J. I see you over there. Welcome, and all the others who are coming to us. I see Chantal over there on Facebook. Good
They're
night, Chantal.
coming,
Yes,
coming.
they are
Huh.
coming in slowly but surely. All right. So, of course, we want to say as well, we have very good deals and offers that you can grab onto. And tonight we want to talk about Google Workplace and that they have amazing, amazing deals. Remember, it's just a few weeks, just a week to go before the promotion code expires. So please check out the promotion codes in the description bar there on YouTube. Now, there's a promotion code for Google Workplace Business Starter and also one for the Business Standard, excuse me. And each promotion code provides 10% off the first year on either the Workplace Business Starter plan or the Google Workplace Standard plan. So go to umeradio.com or click the link in the description bar to check that out. All right. So we are sliding right along and we are moving right now into our spotlight segment. For those of you who are just joining us, you are listening to and you are watching us too. This is Let's Talk Relationships on UME Radio. And we are going into our spotlight feature. And we're going to be having a conversation, very candid conversation about public safety reform with City Council elect Lauren Carter.
Lauren Carter.
Yes. But before we do that, we have a clip from the Breakfast Club on the shooting of Micaiah Bryant. This is such a sad story, DJ KTE.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, yeah.
we do things like these to build awareness and just to encourage the Black community that we need to stick together. So I want you to listen to this clip before we have this conversation with Lady Carter. All right, so we await our engineer to cue that video up for us.
Yeah, folks. In the meantime, it's really been a tragic month. It seems.
Yeah.
And
listen, I don't know what is happening. We are at a sad place, and while I know that discussions are going on, we reform and so on, it is so sad.
Hate crime.
Here we go.
Number
you can
one,
hear.
It is a hate
Yes.
crime. These police killing us are committing hate crimes, and nobody is treating them like hate crimes. So the first change in the legislation is that it all has to be treated as a hate crime. Second change in the legislation is the payouts. The civil suit payouts come from the police officer's pension, and it comes from the police union, and it comes from the fraternal order of the police. Make them pay, because you can't tell me that you're going to make Black taxpayers pay, you understand, for the criminal behavior of police. How am I getting a victory if I'm the one who has to pay for his mistakes? Make the police pay and charge every murder as a hate crime, and I guarantee you they'll think twice before they start killing Black folks.
In the George Floyd Policing Act, that's what they want to do. They want to get rid of qualified immunity, because if you get rid of qualified immunity, then that's exactly what will happen.
Exactly. You need to get rid of qualified immunity and stop making police think that their lives are more important than Black folks. Look at the situation with the sister who got shot 5 times.
Now let's talk about that. Micaiah Bryant in Ohio.
Micaiah Bryant.
Yeah.
They're claiming, and she the one who called the police. They're claiming that the police had a right to shoot her. Even coons, Negroes are running around saying, well, she had a knife. So that justifies her being killed? Because I work in school, Charlemagne. I have seen lunchroom aides with no police training, no bulletproof vests, no night-proof vests, no gun in their pocket. I have seen elderly Black women and elderly Black men take knives and other weapons out of the hands of students during lunchroom riots. So you mean to tell me that a 60, 70-year-old man can disarm a teenager in a lunchroom, but a trained armed police with a bulletproof vest can't get a knife out of the hand of a 16-year-old, but yet and still you have white males who are conducting mass murders all across this country. Almost every other week, we're getting a mass murder in America, and almost every one of these fully armed, fully violent, murderous white men were apprehended by the police without being shot and without losing their life. So explain to me how a white man with an AK-47 can be taken without a police officer firing in a bullet after he done murdered 6, 7, 8 people, but a 16-year-old girl with a butter knife cannot be apprehended without a bullet being shot. That is nonsense. They killed her because they knew they would get away with it.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, I must be a coon because I don't agree with you on this one, and I'm gonna tell you why. I do agree with you. I do agree with you. Those people that walk around with them assault rifles and those white boys that they run around that don't get shot, they should get shot immediately. You come out with a gun, should lay your ass down. Not even a question asked.
Yes.
But this situation, my only thing is this. When the police pulled up, now you're talking to somebody whose father's a retired cop, right?
Yes, sir.
When that cop pulled up, He doesn't know friend or foe. He doesn't know who called the police, right?
Okay.
He does not know. It wasn't like a sign to say, hey, I called the police.
Understood.
They got a call, hey, I'm getting jumped. Somebody has a weapon, right?
Okay.
Comes out that car. He puts his hand out. First thing he says is, you see that girl running towards the other girl with the knife up, right? Police can use deadly weapon to two things: to defend himself and defend another person.
Okay.
He fired his firearm, stopping that girl from getting shot. Now, people could say 4 times, 5 times was a lot. That was a lot of shots. You could take that any which way you want, yes. But his whole thing was to disarm that girl. And at first, I was upset. Why the fuck they shooting that woman? But then I had to sit back and said, let's say that was my daughter sitting on the back of that car and somebody was coming at her aggressively with a knife. She wasn't defending herself. It wasn't like she was defending. She was coming aggressively for that other girl.
Well, she was defending herself, though, Envy. You can't do that.
Right,
I mean, they came, they jumped her before and they came to her house.
But
That was her property.
But at this point right here, when I'm telling you what the cop seen, the cop didn't see the fight.
Okay.
The cop only seen was the girl being aggressive to the other girl. That's all he seen.
Okay.
So at that point, if I'm the father and that's my daughter, I would want to make sure my daughter didn't get stabbed.
Okay.
And that was the only reason I said I understand why that cop did that.
But she shouldn't be dead. 4 times is excessive. There was other ways I think that cop could have intervened without killing that girl.
But that goes into training. Cops are trained to kill.
But let me give you a follow-up, Envy. Let me ask you a question. If you are the police,
correct?
DJ Envy is the police officer. You get out the car. You saw the exact same set of circumstances. Do you shoot her 5 times? Why or why not?
I am not going to shoot her 5 times.
Why?
Honestly?
Yes.
Because this is my community and I know what happens in the community. I understand the fight.
In other words, you value her life.
Right. But I'm going to tell you why. And this is going to be a little
took her life because he did not value it.
Right.
Let me ask you another question, Envy. If she was a white girl with that same knife, does she get shot 5 times?
If I'm a police officer?
Well, not you, with the white, going back to the white officer. If the girl with the knife was a white girl and that was a white neighborhood, does she get shot at all by that same cop?
Gun never even comes out.
I would hope so. If she's aggressive.
No, I didn't ask you what you hope. I didn't ask you what you hope.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a psychic.
You know it wouldn't, Envy.
I don't know. I'm not a psychic.
Envy, you know it. You know she wouldn't.
Envy, you know she wouldn't have got shot if she was white.
I would hope so. If anybody is aggressively going at somebody with a knife, I would hope that they
Envy.
get shot.
How many they got a video of a white guy stabbing a cop in the neck. The cop goes, I'm stabbed in the neck. He pulls out his gun, chases the guy, stops in the middle of the chase to pull out his taser to tase the white guy.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, that was a mouthful there. Folks, as you can see, one of the disparity I'm hearing in this conversation here, a bit heated, but I'm hearing a disconnect.
Okay, are we back now?
Yeah.
You hearing?
We're back.
You hearing me? Okay.
I'm hearing you. I think you're fine now. You're back. You're back in one piece. But I was saying before you came back that as I saw the video, it really kind of I see a disparity even within the Black culture itself, because you hear 2 different viewpoints, but there's some basic things that I think that was missing, And again, as Dr. Umar talked about the different culture or different ethnicity, and you talk about the same situation, you would have had a different outcome. Yes. And I've seen many times when police seen white people when they actually are armed, knives and bottles and different things coming at them, and there's not that quick response to shoot. It's to talk, to escalate, to work it through, and most of the time their lives are spared. And I think that's what I'm seeing. I'm hearing in the conversation. So I guess tonight again, we can't have folks weighing on this, but it's very disturbing how not only do we have already a systematic situation going on, but we're dealing with internal issues with Blacks and how they perceive, how they look at policing, and how they not afraid to publicize it. So again, we have an issue going on. We got a lot of problems in our community, and that needs to be fixed and addressed.
I'm listening to the conversation between these two black gentlemen, and some things stood out at me. First, there is just a disregard for the value of human life. Let's just start there. All right, this is a 16-year-old child. This is not even an adult. This is a child. And I listened as one of the gentlemen spoke about de-escalating situations and removing the knife from a person, and I'm like, aren't the police trained to do these things? Isn't the use of a gun supposed to be the last resort? I mean, whether you're black or white, aren't these in their training? I mean, when I heard the statement that policemen are trained to kill, that statement should not even be. Policemen should be there to protect and serve. That's the tagline of policing. And if we are thinking that police men and women are going to kill first, we are at a sad place. Now, they brought out some very interesting points, and I do agree with the fact that if this was a white girl and not a girl of color, the result would have been different. I agree with that. The result would have been different, and I still can't wrap my mind around why fatal justice has to be always pointed to the black community.
But here's what's
Always.
interesting.
If
Let
the
me see.
offender is a black person or a person of
Hmm.
color, the the overall notion at all times is to end in violence.
Hmm.
Why?
But Lady Misty, look at this dynamic here, right? Now we've heard about these cop abusing their power and abusing their authority in back alleys or places where it's not even like visible to a lot of people, right? And on the camera, God help us, why we're able to see some of these things. But imagine
Mhm.
you're around family, people, you know, families around them, people's around that situation. So even shooting is like you're not disregarding not only the girl's life, but those around her. So you're not regarding the entire community at all.
Yes.
You see, so
And
so
as
you
you
can't.
talk about
Yeah.
community DJ KTE, I'm
Hmm.
saddened by that too, because
Hmm.
it's members of our family, the community by extension, who called the police. There was
Hmm.
nobody there strong enough to de-escalate this situation. This
Hmm.
child should not have been dead.
Hmm.
Where where
Yeah.
where is the support among us? Where's the support among us to say, all right, we are in this situation, right?
Hmm.
I go back to when he talks about being in school. I work in the school system, and fights happen all the time,
Hmm.
right? And there has to be some level of community where we can de-escalate the situation so persons don't end up dead. What? Listen, we are not justifying the fact that, hey, this girl did something right, or the situation, she shouldn't have been aggressive towards the other person. That's not the issue here. The issue here, why did she end up with four shots?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you want to
That's
disarm somebody, shoot her in the hand, then shoot her in the foot.
once, right?
And then
So
there's
yeah,
once.
yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Even before that, you are saying that this child, and let me put it there, child, because this child is 16 years old,
But they're saying
right?
a woman. They're saying a
They,
big. This, I think it's a grown woman. He's not. He's a child. So
Right.
yeah,
And the excuse coming out of the reports is that she was a big girl. All right. So there you go again with that kind of judgmental stereotyping. All
right.
right. She was a
Okay.
big girl. So being big, meaning more aggressive? I don't think so. All right.
Well, you
And
see,
there are more
you
than one
see,
officers there. She could have been disarmed in a different way,
you
not
see,
with
Lady
four
Missy.
shots.
There's no getting around it. You see, when you're perceived a certain way, and it is really entrenched in the American psyche that blacks are less, right, or lives are not that valuable, right, as others. All right. So when you have that mindset, these are people that they're behind the guns. They're in the force. So of course they're
It
dressed up
is
in
sad.
uniforms, but in the mindset, that's what lingers. So it's like and you will hear them on the news. Or a few bad apples are bad actors. That's how they
Yeah.
phrase, bad actors and bad apples. Come on, folks. It's the mindset.
Regardless of
Mhm,
regardless of what the discussion is, there is no going
mhm,
around it. There's no excuses. This child
mhm,
should not have been dead. It
mhm,
could have been handled a different way. And it all boils down to humanity. We
mhm,
do not value each other.
mhm.
And it boils down to the value of human black lives. There
Yeah.
is no value on our lives, and that's so sad. All right,
Mhm.
we're moving into talking to Lady Carter, just to get her, to bounce some things off her. Now, Lauren S. Carter is a parent, she's a planner, and a professional who was born and raised in the city of Mount Vernon, New York. She is passionate about moving Mount Vernon forward. It is her purpose to help improve the quality of life for all, and she has a plan to get it done. And we are going to be talking to her tonight on some of those plans. Good night, Miss Carter. Good night. And
Hey,
it
how
is
are
such a
you?
pleasure to have you back on Let's Talk Relationships. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, great. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you,
Nice.
Lady Misty. Hello, DJ KTE.
Hey, how are you? Good to have you here as well.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So,
Well,
Mr.
Lady Carter,
Lauren
we are
Carter.
jumping right. We are jumping right in. We were just having a little discussion about the tragic events with Makeda Bryant, the Makeda Bryant story, and we know that you yourself, as a black woman, a woman of color, strong black woman, a woman working for a change. We want to talk a little bit tonight about your public safety reform. Can you tell us a little bit about what that entails? What's that all about?
Well, when I decided to run for council, the impetus that was the deciding factor for me was when I saw someone here in Mount Vernon. He had been seen on video allegedly earlier that day assaulting a parking enforcement officer. And a few hours later, the police caught up with him and found him just a few blocks from the alleged incident, apprehended him. The
Yes,
video that I saw picks up from him being on the floor, restrained, surrounded by several officers, and another officer
yes.
ran up and punched him repeatedly. That
Hmm.
was it was
Wow.
unnecessary force. However, I believe
Yes.
there was an internal investigation that cleared him. So that was the reason that I jumped into the race. There were so many issues impacting Mount Vernon, and as I said
Mhm.
before, I had been in
Mm-hmm.
prayer during the lockdowns, and that was, I believe, the Lord saying it's time to get into the race. So I believe that we do need public safety reform. I, have
Mm-hmm.
heard your
Mhm.
discussion about the recent shooting, police shooting, and I believe that officers. It starts with better training. Officers, they go through
Yeah.
3 different rounds of training or vetting, I would say, before they become a police officer. The first round is
Mm-hmm.
a written test, a written
Mhm.
examination to
Yeah.
test their knowledge of police law, police procedure, etc. And then they also have physical training. And finally, the psychological evaluations. And I heard your discussion, Lady Misty, about why couldn't the officer shoot her in the leg or a different place? And that was always a question that I had. And
Mm-hmm.
I discovered that it's not the way they're trained. Officers are trained to shoot you in the, I believe it's called the mass area, in your chest area, because that is the largest
Wow.
portion of your body where they will likely hit you. If they shoot and aim for perhaps your legs or even your arms, they may not. The chances of them actually landing at that target are less than if they shoot you in the mass area, in the chest area. So that's the way they're trained. And I know that reform is going to happen through one of the
Yes.
ways it's going to happen is through training. We need to address the way officers are trained. That's just the way it's going to have to be. And I would like to see, and this is something that would have to come from the state level or even the county level, because officers are trained at the county police academy. So we would have to work with our county executive on the county level, and perhaps the governor, if he wanted to be statewide, to change the way they're trained. They need to learn better de-escalation tactics. I mean, I heard you mention that as well, and that's my position. How
Yes.
do they address and approach situations, particularly domestic violence situations, and situations as we saw altercations? Because I do know that it is said that officers, I won't say it's said, but studies show that they face the most danger in domestic violence situations. So I think that when they respond to calls like that, whether it be domestic violence, whether it be neighbors having an altercation, they come already with their adrenaline running. They already come, I guess, with their antennas up, so to speak. And so if
Yes.
there's a situation that they think will cause them to be in danger, their immediate response is to react, not to de-escalate. So we need better training in that area. We definitely better training in that area of de-escalation, and also how they can interact with and respond to those who are do not have homes. Those people who are in the population where they're considered homeless. In addition to
Yes.
those who are affected by substance abuse, whether it's drugs or alcohol. And these are serious issues and concerns that officers will be asked to respond to. And they need better tools and better training on how to respond appropriately in order to minimize, to the maximum extent practical, minimize use of force.
Yeah, Dr. Lauren, I hear a lot about the training aspect of law enforcement, but I think that an officer, in my understanding, they make pretty decent salaries. All right, a lot of these officers, they live in nice neighborhoods, they have nice houses, and they do good for themselves. They have good pension, of course. And I'm thinking that when I go into a situation as an officer, I'm leaving my family. I'm leaving certain security that I have already. And so if I go into this neighborhood or this particular situation, knowing that I'll be culpable, and I'll pay a heavy fine if I don't think properly and don't approach it, because my family is at stake, my fund is at stake, my retirement is at stake. So let me be careful how I treat these other people. So I think that a lot of cops, they go into these situations knowing that they're backative. They have a no, they call it blue wall of sound. What do you want to call it? And I understand that, but I think that if that become more of a reality, that listen to me, I got to watch what I do because I'll pay for this. I think they'll approach it even differently, opposed to just so carefree. I think that's just my take on that. How would you address that?
That's definitely something else to consider. Yeah, I believe it's referred to as qualified immunity. That is something that is also something that needs to be reviewed as well as a part of their contracts. There are civil servants, whether they're police officers, firefighters, office workers, whatever the case is. They have certain protections across the board, the civil service workers. So I definitely agree that we need to revisit contracts for police officers and for all civil service employees across the board, wherein many don't believe that they feel like they're invincible, in order, that they can just perform any way that they want to perform and continue to stay on the job. So certainly that is something that can be revisited there, and that will be at the local level, because the contracts are negotiated between the police unions and the cities where they work, the mayors of those cities. Usually the administration will engage labor council, to negotiate these contracts on their behalf. And it's something that pressure needs to be put on administrations to say, listen, we want more accountability from our officers. And that comes during the contract negotiations.
All right, great. We want to ask you a question here from somebody who is listening to us. And the question is it hard to be a leader in the Black community? What are the challenges? Do you find it challenging to represent the Black community as a leader?
Well, it can be challenging to represent the Black community. I will speak for my community, which is predominantly African American. One of the challenges is that, and I think it's just about everywhere, but one of the challenges we have had is that people have been elected based on popularity rather than performance. They're not. The question is not asked, can they actually do the job? Do they have the experience, qualifications? Do they have the emotional intelligence to do the job? Do they have the integrity? But it's, oh, I went to school with that person. Yeah, I grew up with them. I know their mother. And we have, unfortunately, because that's been our criteria, even in hiring people, not just electing them, but then those people who are elected, the criteria for hiring is because, oh, you helped me out in my campaign, you gave me a big donation. That has really hurt us here in Mount Vernon, which is one of the reasons why, another contributing reason why I decided to get into the race, because I believe that no one is more qualified to run for council than I am. There's probably one other person, because that person had been a council person and then they were acting mayor they were council person for about 3.5 years, and then finished the last 6 months as acting mayor. But I believe that no one really has the experience that I have working in for the executive branch, knowing how the executive branch operates, and also working for the legislative branch, having to work with the legislators, helping them research and prepare legislation, and then being a planner, a person that is a policy professional, where I know how, some of the tools that can be used to address our issues. That's why I got in the race. For me, it's about experience, qualifications, integrity. So it has been challenging in the Black community, because we have been, unfortunately, in this community, electing people based on popularity.
All right. Before you go, Lady Carter, because I know your schedule is all busy and so on. But I want to ask this final question to you before you go, and I'm not sure if you're seeing it on your screen as well. It says, we understand that leaders rep communities and all groups within, but do you see the need for Black leadership in the interest of our community? How will you ensure the Blacks are not underrepresented?
Well, I think that there is a need for Black leadership and leadership from other races as well. I believe that, really, quite frankly, I believe that if a person really has a public service mindset, then I think that they can represent just about any group, because it's not about self-interest. It's about public interest, the
Yes.
people interest.
Yes, yes, correct.
So I believe that a person with that type of mindset can serve any group.
Wow. Well, Dr.
All
Lauren,
right. We want,
I would say
well,
doctor,
thank
right?
you.
Lauren Carter. I would say Dr. Lauren Carter. Lauren Carter. It, it's a pleasure to have you
All
back with
right.
us.
It is
Thank you so much.
indeed a
It was
pleasure to have
it was
you.
a pleasure to be here and to even listen to the previous conversation. Thank you so much for having me.
You are
Great.
most welcome.
Great having
All
you as
right.
guest.
So, for those of you who are listening, please remember to go and check out her
Vote,
website
vote, vote.
at,
Yes.
yeah, and vote and vote and vote. Vote Lauren
Mm-hmm.
Carter, Democrat
Mm-hmm.
for Mount Vernon City
Amen.
Council. We are here to support her all the way as she gets on the road to allowing her community and by extension the city of New York be a better place. All right, so we are moving into our main event tonight, and just want to remind you, we are talking about tonight, and we're going to be trying to get into the discussion tonight. This request a viewer wrote into us, and we want to provide support to this viewer who wrote in with concerns of parenting and relationship issues. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So stick around, don't go nowhere. We are going to be talking about uh, Mother on the Edge. Now, to provide us with context, of course, I'm going to be reading an excerpt from the letter that she wrote into LTR. And of course, while you are listening as I read, I want you to make your own comments. So if you're over there on Facebook, you drop your comments in the comment section. And of course, my YouTube tribe, you know what to do. You always keep our company with your robust conversations over there. So let's go. So this is the letter that was written to us, and it says, "Hi LTR. I am a frequent listener to your show and I love it. It features so many good and practical things to help in my relationship. However, I need your help. I am a wife and a mother of three. My oldest is 7 years old and I am in my early 30s.
Hmm. Started young.
My husband and I have been talking about how to rekindle and spice up our relationship in a budget-friendly way. Perhaps you could do a topic on that, please. All right. Well, we look into that definitely. All right. That aside, for us, it has been work. It has been work, and and at this point, I don't like being a mother, and I don't like being a wife. But I am trying, and I know it's something I need to speak with somebody about. It just feels like a duty, not something to enjoy. The last time we had a break was 2018 for one night. Wow,
Hmm.
that is interesting stuff.
Hmm. It's a long time,
We
Misty.
just, yes, we just want to get away. But because of our young children, we don't know what to do, and because of money too. We got an offer to speak with a counselor from your show that was gifted to us, but my husband refuses to take the time off so we can. He keeps making excuses. I spoke to him via text even today, saying, "Babe, we need help." I told him nothing is there for him and I'm feeling vulnerable. I am so weak to the point where if someone better comes my way, I may just turn in that direction for what I need. I explained and I'm tired of talking. I am now on break. I am now, let me see if I can get the sentence right. I'm now on break and I'm begging him to take up the counseling offer. I have to be on him about it. And I am tired of being that person. He's
Hmm.
complaining now of having problems with me.
Hmm.
But I warned him some years ago that this is the point it will reach. Eventually, I'm going to stop doing certain things because I'm realizing and feeling like I'm forcing myself on him. He has to feed my emotions. I'm trying, and it feels like he's pushing me away. I predicted that it would be best to stop. It would be best. And he's going to accuse me of what he is now. I warned him, and it is getting worse. The other day was my birthday, and he bought me a gift, but it feels so false. I can't I can't feel anything. I have no time to myself. Can't use my phone in peace because of the kids. For my birthday, all I wanted was a little peace and quiet time to myself. He wouldn't even take them when he is there.
Hmm.
I have been a wife and a parent so much it feels like poison
Hmm.
running through my body. Wow. I tell God I'm human. I'm not trying to be ungrateful, but he takes back my kids, but I am so tired and in so many ways. I just need to know what to do. They are draining me and mentally draining my energy. I cannot deal with them. Sometimes I feel like just beating them cold.
Hmm. Wow.
Pack my bags. I've packed my bag so many times, but I have nowhere to go.
Hmm.
I just want to feel loved. I have asked him, and this is my husband now, her husband. I've asked him if he still loves me, and he asked me, "What kind of question is that?" If he didn't, he would be gone already. I feel
Hmm.
empty and going with the flow at this point. We are at peace at the moment, but I am yearning for something more.
Hmm.
There is something else that is bothering me. I have one daughter. She's the eldest. I can't show her any affection, not even to call her my princess or anything like that. Sometimes she comes to me and hugs me, and I just want her to let me go. I don't want
Hmm.
her to touch me or be around me. She even told me that I don't like her. I feel bad because she's so loving. The other day, I was kissing the baby, and I'm guessing the baby is the youngest. And my oldest son said, "Why you kiss the baby and don't kiss me?" My relationships with my kids are off, save for the
Hmm.
baby. My older son, not so much, but my daughter.
Hmm.
Sigh. I am not like this. What is happening to me? Help. Wow. This is
Yeah.
such a heavy letter. Wow, wow, wow. This is a parent on the brink of falling over the edge. And tonight, we want to see how best we can get into the discussion and provide support to her as best as
We
we
can.
can. Yes. To join with us in the conversation tonight, we have our returning guest, Reverend Courtney Morrison. He is the
Yeah,
chairman of
yeah,
Men of
yeah.
God Against Violence and Abuse. He is the CEO of Left Wrong Do Right Initiative. He's a father, a husband for the past 29 years, and he's also the pastor of Fellowship Tabernacle, Portmore, Jamaica. And of course, on a special note, I know
Returning
that Reverend
guests as
Morrison
well.
will be celebrating his birthday on
Uh-oh.
Wednesday. And I see
Uh-oh.
him
Uh-oh.
celebrating
Uh-oh.
over there.
Happy birthday
Right.
to ya.
I hear that
Happy
the best men are
birthday
born in
to
April. Is
ya.
that true? The best men are born in April. Is that true? I
Actually,
don't
no.
know.
Actually, no. It's
Without
December.
question.
It's
Without
December.
question.
It's December.
Without
Go on, go
Oh,
on, Pastor. No, 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 no. We ain't gonna do that
Look at that
tonight.
guy. He's
It's
Rev, I'm
still
such,
sure
such
my
a
December.
husband
nice
will
guy.
agree with you.
I'm sure he
Yes,
will.
and he will be
I'm sure
hosting,
he
of
will.
course. Yes, he will. Yes, in honor of your birthday, Rev, I see that you'll be hosting a special event, Left Wrong Do Right Birthday Edition Double Five. All right, I am so here for it. So if you want to join in that, go to First tab, portmore.org for more information. All right, I want to hear about that. All right, also joining us is the lovely returning guest as well, Dr. Candice Drummond. Now, Dr. Candice uses her brand to empower, teach,
Yes, she
increase,
does.
and develop any private practice. She's the owner and or the owner operator she with to any owner or operator she encounters. I'm getting tongue tied. I don't know why.
Count
All
time.
right.
Wait a minute.
She
It's a lot.
is
It's a lot.
a mental health counselor. She is
Okay.
able to conceptualize even the most complex cases, and we have a complex case tonight. Yeah, and provide strategic planning to best assess, evaluate, and treat various mental health issues. She has been featured in the Miami Times newspaper and the Voyage MIA magazine. She is a dynamic leader, a public
Yes, indeed.
speaker, licensed insurance agent, mental health expert, financial planner, strategic planning expert of doctors and therapists, and an avid traveler. She continues to grow and improve her vision for better financial and mental health for all.
And guess
Good
what?
night.
She's
Yes.
Jamaican. Woo. Okay. Proud of my sister.
And she's
Ah.
all right.
Proud of my sister.
Thank you so
Okay,
much
here
for
we go.
dropping that in. Oh my God, yes. And she is Jamaican. All right. I want to say good night to you both. Thank you for joining us on Let's Talk Relationships another time. I trust that you are well, both of you.
Thank you.
I was just
You
let me say
are
I was
welcome.
just watching the video. I saw pink. I saw what's my color, y'all? I don't know what it is. Is it orange? It said what is that? What is that? Tell me
It
something. Is
looks
it
like
pink?
peach, DJ
Peach.
KTE.
It's peach. I see green. I'm like color. It's a very colorful night tonight, and I know it's gonna be very
Yes, it
colorful. I know it's
is.
gonna be.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Tonight we have a very, very heavy letter coming into us, and it's a very interesting topic as we delve into trying to support this parent. She's going through a very rough time. And
Yeah,
of course, mentally, she is on the verge of breakdown, Dr. Drummond. So
sounds
we are going to
serious.
see how well we can uh, assist tonight. Just to provide a little bit of context and background, I want to read something here from the verywellfamily.com, and it talks about the common causes of stress for mothers. Next week Sunday is Mother's Day, so we are in that mode as well. So it's interesting that this topic came to us. It says children bring joy, love, and countless gifts to our lives. And they are
I think she's frozen, I believe. But while she's working on her little thing there, let me let's continue. So everyone can hear me, okay? Dr. Candice and Pastor Morris, you can hear okay? Yes. So while she's getting everything straight, situated there. Again, gotta be glad to have you back. It's awesome. And I guess as I heard the letter, I'm sure you've heard, and you probably are going to hone in on certain points that you think needs to be said. But to start with, Dr. Candice, hearing this as a woman of yourself and a mother, I'm sure you can identify with many things in that letter. Having that responsibility and how support works for you, how you be able to manage those things. Um, what are you hearing in this letter, and how would you want to address it from your vantage point? I
Mic
think
is
you're.
muted.
I think you're muted. I think you're muted.
So,
Muted.
There
yes,
you
there
go.
you
Can you hear me
go.
now?
Yes, we
Yes,
can. And I'm
perfect.
back, guys, and I'm back.
All
Yes,
right.
All
I'm
right.
sorry. The first thing that I notice is, like you say, I hear a woman in crisis.
yes.
Recently, probably about 3 to 4 months ago, there was a story in Miami of a woman who reported that her child was abducted
Mm,
during some attempted carjacking. It was
wow.
an attempted carjacking. Her autistic child was abducted during the attempted carjacking, only to find out that this mom was so overwhelmed
Mm-hmm.
that she actually walked her autistic child into a canal in an attempt to drown him herself.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
The reason that
Wow.
I
That's
bring
so
up this
sad.
story is to point out that that is something that can happen when a mother breaks. She gets to her breaking point. We
Mm-hmm.
hear these stories every couple of years, a mom driving all of her kids into a lake, or things along those lines, burning the house down with her children inside. We hear those things, and those are things that happen a lot of the times, like I said, when mothers feel totally overwhelmed and
Right.
alone in
Mm-hmm.
their issues. The next thing that I hear is a woman asking for help and looking for help in her partner, and not necessarily receiving a positive response.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the concern that I would have for anyone in a relationship in that type of predicament is just be concerned that if you go to counseling alone
Mm-hmm.
with a relationship problem, 9 times out of 10, the advice is going to be to leave the relationship. So that's just something to consider, even to, point out to the partner as well, that, they may be resistant to couples counseling, but if they are, wanting to remain within the relationship, then it is in their best interest to participate in the counseling, because 9 times out of 10, individual counseling works
Mm-hmm.
with whatever is in the best interest of the individual,
Mm-hmm.
and staying in a
Right.
toxic relationship would not be in their best
Mm-hmm.
interest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow.
So, like for her, like she says, she's been trying to get through to
Okay.
her husband, that sort of
All
thing.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's interesting that she started the letter by asking about budget friendly date ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that's what he's interested in doing. He's willing and
Mm-hmm.
interested. Those are actually good ideas too. Doing a project together, even like planting an herb garden.
Mm-hmm.
Working on, like I say, doing some sort of project together that could even involve the kids, where the kids kind of have like their own little patch that they're growing in over here, and then you and your husband work together on this little patch here. I think the seed packs, you can get them like 4 for $1. So that's, a really, I would say, budget friendly idea of something to kind of do together. that would be something that kind of bonds you or brings you together. Any sort of household project along those lines. So it could be something where, maybe redecorating the kids' room, where maybe he builds something and you paint something, somewhere, like I said, again, where there's that cooperative energy involved. Those are good ideas as far as things to, like I said, kind of budget friendly. Also, there's always picnics. I love picnics. That was actually what I had for my birthday. I
Okay.
requested a picnic.
Wow. Okay.
And it's nice because then, your husband, packed crackers and cheese and, grapes and, like, and it gives him an opportunity to do something where he doesn't feel like, he doesn't know how, because a lot of men don't like to do things where they don't feel like they do it well. So, it's not like he doesn't know how. He could, pack a little basket, put a little champagne or, wine coolers and, whatever, and just, go on out to the beach or a nice park or something along those lines. So, like I said, I think it's interesting that she started with that. So it's possible that that's an in with the husband, a way to get that mutual support that Odette mentioned there. But also, if there is no support, like if the other person doesn't see anything wrong with their behavior, there's no reason for them to make any change. And so you'll be kind of sitting there, trying to change someone who sees no reason to change, and that's not going to work out.
Wow, interesting. So, Pastor Martian,
Right.
Yes. Good
we
night,
we
everyone.
had been made in team of
listening
yes.
to.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
mean, women, and it's really funny. They say that women need to feel connected to have sex, but men often need to have sex to feel connected.
Interesting. Wow.
And
Yes.
so you have this circular response happening where, like she said, you need to feed me emotionally. So she's not feeling connected emotionally. So she's probably not having sex. He's not having sex, so he's not feeling connected. And it just builds and builds and builds in that way, and fulfills itself.
Wow.
All right. Go ahead, Pastor
Yeah,
Morrison.
Coach
Go ahead.
Raquel, you're absolutely right. If the other person can't see or even just even appreciate your pain, they're not going to be even willing to do anything about it. They're going to negate it. They're going to deny it. They're going to, tell you that that's not happening. That's not what you're feeling. There's no reason for you to feel that way. I'm still paying all the bills. Can't you see I'm doing my part?
Wow.
So I'm not in my usual space. Good evening, everyone. Good evening,
Yeah, it's a
Dr.
tough
Candy.
position for her. And like I say, it's a lot
Good
more
evening. Good evening.
than, just exactly some me time. And, speaking of me time, I actually developed a very short course. I'm actually going to drop the link in the chat in a moment. A short course on how moms can create me time for themselves. Initially it was how to create me time during quarantine, and it was initially designed for single moms. But as you can see with even this situation, and even the sad story that I told at the beginning of my segment here, there are married women who are feeling unsupported and are feeling alone and overwhelmed with their duties as moms. And so I think it's really important for us to consider how to create me time, because that's gonna really kind of make or break the whole.
Yeah. I think you're
All
frozen, babe.
right. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Candace. You're frozen. All
Sorry,
right,
did I
I want
freeze?
to hear from Reverend Courtney Morrison. I know you. Yes. Just hold on a minute, Dr. Drummond. I want to hear from Reverend Morrison. I know you were about to say something. You can go ahead. You can go
Can you
ahead,
hear me, DJ
Rev.
KTE?
Yes, I can hear you now. You're good. You're good.
Yes, we
Okay.
can hear you.
I'm sorry. I
We
think
can
I
hear you.
froze for a moment.
Yes, you did. You did. But you're back. You're back now. You're back
Yes,
now.
yes, you
But there's
did.
someone to ask you, Dr. Candace. But I'm gonna come back to you in a minute. Because some of you're saying I'm gonna write it down so I can remember it. I want to ask you from a female perspective. But Pastor Martian, I know you'll hear this story as well, and we got that men perspective on it too. So I want to hear what you think about this letter here. It's a very powerful letter, man. It really kind of got me a little mystified here.
Yes, it has got me. But in addition to what Dr. Candice has said, there are a couple of things apart from the crisis and the cry for help, and a cry for creativity in what is happening so that there can be a regenerating of the compassion that apparently once existed for them to have decided to have gotten married in the first place. That what you're seeing here, I believe as well, are some persons. When I got married at age 25, and my wife said, by age 30, she should not be having any more children. And we made it a certain deal. We had 4 children by age 30, right? All 4 have graduated from universities. One is a lawyer, one has her second degree in forensic science, one is an actuarial scientist, and the other one is a nutritionist. All 4 there. One of the things that can happen if persons are not creative and knew what expectations were before getting in marriage, then unmet expectations is going to bring about disappointments. Unmet expectations. He's in her early 30s and she has 3 children. And it would seem, based on what is written here, has been said and been pointed out, the help that she would have expected, the help that she truly deserves in doing this, because parenting is not for mothers only. And that's something that we tend to miss as men. Men are nurturers as well. They're not just mothers, but men are also nurturers. We must ensure that the balance is there. Most men, it would seem, and I'm just adding to what Dr. Drummond has said, most men seem to refuse to go to counseling for whatever reason. They might think that they're not the one that has the problem. Someone mentioned it. If you can't convince someone who doesn't see that they are in a wrong position, and that is what is happening here. I'd like to encourage her, and I'm hoping she's listening. I understand the temptation to break, your emotions are not being fed. You're not getting physical support with the children either. And if any help comes along, especially in the form of another gentleman, you may want to accept it. But I would say that may complicate matters even further. It's not necessarily the route you want to take, because I'm sure your husband also would take kindly to it. And that can spark another set of emotions and things happening there. I've heard of postpartum depression continuing for a year or even years after. To hear her at the point that she has become so pressured and frustrated that she's not liking being a mother, she's not liking being a wife,
You're a little low in your volume.
saying,
you're a little low.
Take us women for granted. But I would say both sides take each other for granted quite well.
There you go.
And we need to be careful not to blame, but to recognize what is happening and see how best we can address it. I find that even when we talk about gender-based issues, we tend to lean towards the woman as opposed to the men. Men are emotional beings as well. They may not be talkers. And especially in our culture in Jamaica, where a man hears that if he talks a lot, he's talking a lot like a woman, he is going to refrain from talking. And so we have to be careful not to examine what are the foundations that have been laid either by societal norms or by culture that needs to be investigated. This young man, and this is not a justification for wrong behavior. Never think I'm pointing blame, nor am I giving justification for wrongs. But he may have been brought up in an atmosphere where he believes raising the children and doing all that this wife is doing, that in doing so, he's playing the role that he should play.
That's
And
right.
that's
I
what,
believe so too.
and so he does not see anything wrong. And so would need to be re-educated and re-informed as to what needs to happen. In even cases of abuses, we have found men who, by culture, believe that it was okay to physically abuse their wife. And we have found wives in Jamaica who will make the statement, unless him beat me, him don't love me. And so culturally, there are some wrongs that we have grown up with over the years. And I'm not sure what background this is from, but it would also still need some deeper investigations as to what is happening. It is clear to me, though, that she wants the relationship. It is clear to me that this man,
Yeah.
she loves this man, and she would like to see his wrongs corrected, or how he addresses
Mm-hmm.
things. I did not say wrong, how he addresses things to be changed and be transformed in being more
Yes.
supportive and ensuring that mutual support is happening and getting things done together. That's what I see here. The other day was my birthday and he bought me a gift, she says. But it feels
Mm-hmm.
so false. It can't fill me up. Not anything can. I have no time to myself. So she's not getting help there. But even in purchasing the gift, the gentleman may be in his mind trying to help, but he doesn't recognize, and his refusal
Mm-hmm.
to counsel, to hearing something else, is really preventing and inhibiting him from correcting his situations. This is the horse gone through the gate already, and it's one of the reasons why in premarital
Mm-hmm.
counseling we love to
Yes.
ensure, but I know I love to ensure, we talk about expectations. Who will do the chores? Who will take care of the children? Who will pay the utility bills? We ask those questions. What if he hits you? What if he finds out you have another man? It's not the things that we want to see happening, you know.
It's the what ifs. Yeah, the what ifs is important.
What ifs are important. Marriage is bliss, but it can cause blisters. And so, with that in mind, there are some careful considerations that need to be made. Now that you are married and all of this is happening, how can we help to correct? And Dr. Drummond is correct in saying, in this day and age, the 9 out of 10 persons, when they are being given individualistic counseling, it is going to be said, leave. Yes? I have not seen a sign here of physical abuse, but there is emotional abuse here. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
And she's
Yes.
breaking under that pressure. And she's crying for help, and
Mm-hmm.
he's not hearing it. You know, the children is already there taking up her time. She has asked him to take time off from work, and I've had to ask him if he still does. You know, she doesn't feel love. His response tells me again when that question was asked, "You still love me?" In Jamaica, we would have probably phrase it this way: what kind of fool question that you asked me? If I didn't love you, I would say.
True.
He's
True, right?
understanding
True,
in his
true.
mind. He's not understanding in his mind that LOVE for a woman is affection. He thinks it is something
Yes.
else, and he believes he's addressing it because he's playing his role of providing, going and coming. No, Papa, it is more than that. You see, and she is expressing it. He's not communicating well based on all that we see here. And
Yes.
but she has her own baggage, her own quote unquote demons. Her eldest daughter, she's not loving her eldest daughter, and she recognized that. The aspersions are being cast at her, and she's feeling even worse about not having a good marriage and not having the right relationship with children. She's being hit at all ends. She's being bombarded, and she really needs some time to recuperate, to break and sit back. You know, the children are asking as well, you are not loving me as you ought to. She's saying to her
Yes.
husband, you are not loving me like you ought to. And so you have sort of complicated relationship that's happening there. Something has to give, and they really need counseling. I still would recommend some form of individualistic counseling, especially for her. Right now, she needs that sort of help. She needs that peace of mind. She needs strengthening. She needs support, professional support, not from someone else just walking.
Let me just say so. If you real right quick, Pastor Martian. You hear a story like this, and of course, it's one side you're hearing. There's so many dynamics to it. When they started, how they started, why they started. There's so many different things going on, layers here that we don't know, but we know there's a problem there. But if I can give this lady, if she's listening, just a little bit of encouragement. Your story actually inspired this show right here.
Yes.
We're in over 70 countries. And who knows, on all these platforms that somebody's hearing the story because of your story. And just imagine that even in your pain, somebody somewhere might be saying, you know what, let me think harder about who I'm with. Let me kind of reevaluate my relationship. Let me go to counseling. Let me, do something different. Or how do you speak to that? Because, it's one thing to say some things may end up being a separation. That may be the best for this couple. Something may end up being a situation where it's just never going to be where it's supposed to be. That's life. We hope that's not the case. We hope that this can be a good, ending where there can be reconciliation, there can be understanding, there can be growth. But the reality is that lives have been affected, and we can use the same story and help somebody else who might not be married yet, want to get involved, how to think of maybe how to plan. I heard about planning. Planning came forth out of Pastor Martian and out of Candace. How can we now look at this, for someone who's listening and say, hey, look at this story here. How can we avoid these things from being so perpetual? And Dr. Candace, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the premarital counseling that Pastor Morrison pointed out is really, really important. Now, whether or not you decide to do that with a pastor or have it be a religious component, it can also just be with a therapist, rabbi, whatever your belief or your structure may be. But to have these hard questions be asked prior to, getting into a relationship, the stuff that you really don't want to talk about, or you want to glaze over and act like it'll be okay down the road, the things that really matter, if you're having a child with somebody, are they going to be baptized or christened? Are they going to be circumcised? Are they going to be, all of these things are cultural and religious and all of these aspects that are really important. Are they going to go to Catholic school or a secular school? Are they going to, there are, like I said, these are so many factors. Even how you're going to discipline your child, how you're going to chastise, whether you're going to do the elf on the shelf or talk about Santa. Like, I mean, all of these things are really, really important, and there are difficult questions. Like he says, who's gonna pay the bills? Who's gonna clean the house? I mean, who's gonna be responsible for these things? You know, do you expect for me to have a vasectomy when we're done having kids? Do you expect for me to get my tubes tied? Do you expect for me to breastfeed? Do you expect for me? I mean, again, like all of those things. So premarital counseling and questions, that's really, to me, I think one of the best ways to prepare and make sure that these things also don't happen. But another thing that I think a lot of people forget when they become parents is that you're still in a relationship. You're still, you know, you're still husband and wife, and really you're still boyfriend and girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like you're still, you know, dating and getting to know each other because you are still growing. So as, you know, your interests change, as the things that you discover change, you need to be able to explore those new things with your partner as well, or it's going to end up having you grow apart rather than grow together. You know, my parents have been married for 43 years. They celebrated their anniversary last
Wow,
week.
congratulations.
And my dad is not a very social guy. You know, he's really a homebody. He's not really into a whole lot. My mom loves to dance. She likes to go out dancing, like literally clubbing in her 60s, okay? And so, you know, like, so my dad says it's not as important to actually share interests as it is to be willing to share in the interests of your partner. So you don't have to enjoy the same things. You don't have to, you know, like actually.
I like that. Say it again.
Yeah, you don't have to share interests. You don't have to share interests. It's more important to share in the interests of your partner.
Wow, I like that. I like that. Yeah, I like that. Powerful.
So you don't have to like the same things. Just be willing to explore what your partner enjoys.
Wow.
You know, Dr. Candace, one of the things that I love to say is that your relationship doesn't even have to be compatible. It needs to be complementary. Where I'm weak, you're strong, and we're balancing each other. Where you have dislikes, I have likes, I can help you grow through it. And that the relationship is not one that is combative, but one that's complementary. If we can recognize that it's not gender versus gender, male versus female, who is better, but that we are partnering. And that word is very important, that we're partnering. When that happens and we recognize that it is a partnership, then it has a different perspective altogether. Again, the issues of whether or not, I love what Dr. Candice do, because sometimes we don't even ask those detailed questions. Is he going to, if we have a son, is he going to be circumcised? But some of the questions we even ask, how many children do you want to have?
Planning.
Yes. Where would you want them to be educated? It's serious. And those are serious questions. After having children, do we still have a life together as parents? Because sometimes what you find happening is that when children come into play, people forget that they had a relationship before children were there. And one spouse is going to become jealous. You're not giving me the attention you used to. And one spouse might be saying, but you're not helping me with the children as I thought you would. And if the decision that is arrived at is not one that compromises and balances that act, there is going to be jealousy, separation. One person is going to seek to go their way to get what they intend to get, while the other is going the other way to get what they want instead of coming together to pull together. It is sad, and it's a sad reflection in our society today. Here in Jamaica, we have seen the newspaper report coming out just this morning. During this COVID period, since the beginning of this year, January 2021, there has been 1,200 divorce cases filed for in the family
Oh
court.
wow, my goodness.
It
Yeah,
has never
I
been.
saw that too. I saw that too, Rev.
So
It
it's
is
it is
it's sad.
saying
Oh my
we
goodness.
come together to work
Wow.
together. The differences that we reflect as male and female as partners
Hmm.
are being so grossly highlighted, and we are not finding ways of correcting what's there.
Yes.
I believe we have to grow to understand each other, and understanding of each other helps the situation. I've seen a man and a woman who have been married for 40 years. One is a Christian and the other person don't go to church any at all. And they have a fantastic relationship.
Hmm.
It is amazing. He will allow her to go to church and she will allow him to drink his liquor or whatever it is, but they share each other. Dr. Candice put it well about the interest that we have. She might not like football, but she'll watch and she'll comment. He might not like watching soap operas, but he might just look in and comment. When you take interest in
Yes.
the interest of the other individual, even if you're not so much a participant or whether or not you like it sends a message that you're supporting me. And always remember this, no matter how strong and tough a man look, and I'm telling you this, support for him is vital, just as it
Mm-hmm.
is for the woman.
Mm-hmm.
Both are seeking support, and in any partnership, encouraging, uplifting each other, elevating each other is always important. If, as the story
All
is here,
right.
if the persons would
Go ahead.
seek
Go
to
ahead.
look at each other, and the gentleman would stop, if, as she says, the story is, pause, stop
Yeah.
for a moment,
Mm-hmm.
and just consider what's happening here. Listen to the cries and communicate. It needs to happen quickly.
All right. Thank you so much, Rev. If you're listening to us, you're watching us, of course, you are
Just
tuned into Let's Talk
an addition note
Relationships
to
on
what Pastor
UME
Morrison
Radio,
is
and
saying. It's
we are
very
here
important,
with
like you said, for
our
her to have
very
some sort of
important
professional help,
guests,
even
and we
individually
want
right
to
now.
I
say
think you're not
Just
hearing. You're not hearing each other. Are you hearing Rochelle, Dr. Candice? Are
no,
you
I'm
hearing?
oh
not.
no,
Oh, you're not hearing
no.
her. Okay,
No.
yeah, because there was like like a twin
Oh.
thing going, like
Oh,
twins going
okay,
there.
okay, my
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Oh, my bad,
So
my
she wasn't
bad.
hearing you. Yeah.
All
So
right.
yeah.
I was just saying, for those who are listening, you are listening to Let's Talk Relationships, and we are here with our lovely guest tonight, Reverend Courtney Morrison and Dr. Candice Drummond. And I want to ask a question. We are almost out of time, so we want to get through some of the questions. And I heard Pastor Morrison talk about in his earlier comments. He spoke about that kind of compromise he made with his wife when they were talking about having children. And I want to ask this question to you, Rev. Is there a need for relationship training? Is How important is planning when it comes on to relationships? Is there that need, and how do we get in, and how do we get out? Is there a
like
need for planning the relationship? Is there a need, not, and when we talk about planning, we know there's a national family planning board. They talk about contraceptives, and they talk about all of that. But I mean, planning for a family, planning for a relationship. Is it important to have training? Is it necessary? How do we navigate that so we can avoid instances like these?
and to add to Lady Missy's thought, which I like, um, can it be like contractually done, like written down on paper where they can actually see it and write it down and go back to it as a reference point? You think that's also
Right.
something like that?
Interesting question, good question. I've often sat and wondered how our foreparents addressed parenting. There was no manual, there was no training, and they seem to
Right.
have done a fairly decent job. Yet in these days, we seem to need training. It is becoming clearer that we can get so caught up in the activity, day-to-day activities, that we ignore relationships. We get so caught
Yes.
up with everything else that we have to do. And so we have to readjust, retrain, retool, re-educate individuals into thinking relationships matters. How I address you, how you address me. And I'm talking across the board, not just spousal relationships, but even brotherly and sisterly and parental and children relationships. And so
Yes.
guidelines, and I believe we are now offering and seeing it happening more frequently than before. There are parenting sessions, awesome. There are relationship sessions, yet some of them are skewed towards just thinking that it's all about the individual's happiness. And sometimes I want to place a note of caution that it should be about shared interests, shared happiness, yet the other individual is
Yes.
not your source of happiness.
Yes,
It's
yes.
about shared,
Right.
because you are in a relationship and you want to ensure the success of
Mm-hmm.
that relationship. I believe you'd want to, whether it is with your children, your parents, or your spouse, that you want that relationship to be successful. You want it to be happy, filled with joy. And therefore, the
Yes.
family planning board, because I remember in my youthful days as a teen, I did a program with the family planning board, and it was about contraceptive mainly. But many persons don't know that abstinence was also taught by the family planning board. And
Mm.
yes, they did teach it. And one of the things that I learned primarily there is that family planning is important. Because if I even fail to plan my family, I may have children that I will start to see as a burden as opposed to a blessing.
Yes.
And the scripture declares it, children are an inheritance of God. And
Yes.
so you don't want that which is an inheritance that should bless you to become, as
A
I'm looking
hindrance.
even at this situation here, that
Mm-hmm.
you are growing so apart that you are painstakingly emotionally oppressed by what is
Yes.
happening. How do I break from all that oppression and cause restoration to happen? It's going to take some amount of counseling. And I believe there's no greater counseling than the godly counseling. But if you're not attuned, you still need that sort of help where love is expressed. We're teaching you how to express that love to children as opposed to a friend, as opposed to parent, different levels of authorities that exist. It is important, I believe. If we don't, we will end up, as I see here, someone saying, in wrong relationships. And so the question is now, how do you walk
Mm-hmm.
away from relationships that have become toxic, whether or not by
Yes.
default, or the persons refuse to change their ways, and there's the obsessive compulsive behavior, where the man believes that he owns the woman, where the woman may think that, if he talks to another lady, he's flirting, and vice versa. All these things are happening. How now do I walk away? I believe there are some stages in doing that if you need to. And if you have come to that situation where you have exhausted your options and the
Right.
person become even physically abusive and refuse to go to counseling, because I'm one of those who believe the batterers must be treated, because he will move away from one relationship, enter another, and
With the
still
same
perpetuate
thing.
what he's
Yes.
doing. He needs to be sat with and talked with, and his machoism should never take precedence over what is correct. It is no strange diagnosis then that most of our men are those who face mental illness, suicide. Because again, I think we tend not to see it, that the men are not communicating. A woman will give even some signs and hints that she wants to commit suicide because she wants to be rescued. The man is going to complete that without asking any questions. You'll find him
Mm-hmm.
on a rope tomorrow. You'll find him with a gunshot to his head or to his. So when the relationship, he doesn't believe he can have the woman anymore, he goes and he kills her, and then recognize the very person who he believes he cannot do without is dead. He kills himself. But he has committed such a final act that he can't restore. It must be either about restoration or reconciliation. Reconciliation doesn't
Yeah.
mean that I'm even going to stay. It's about addressing my actual mental state. Do I want to end up mentally disoriented, that I move from a place of mental illness to mental disorder? It is very important, therefore, that we do some serious assessment, that we find a trusted counselor, that even someone that you can express. If you see things going wrong, you're trying to address it and it doesn't happen, that you find a mediator. It's very important. Mediators can help, especially in the case of if the man is violent physically, that there's someone who can stand in between you both and say, no, don't touch her. Lekem Samaj, Dr. Lekem Samaj out here in Jamaica came up with a terminology. We had a meeting on Wednesday, and he spoke
Yes.
about emotional violence, that most physical violence begins with emotional violence.
Emotional. Yes.
One lady says, yes, he first start to abuse the woman, calling her names and stuff. And Lekim said, yeah, but I was really talking about most men snap and break under the continued abuse from a woman verbally, because we tend to miss that as well when the statistics shows that women mainly are instigators, but it also proves that men are not well done with self-control and keeping themselves upright in what is happening. Men believe in eliminating the competition. So he will kill another man, he will kill the woman, and he will kill the child. But his main competitor is men. And so it's an 8-to-1 ratio of men violently killing men as opposed to killing women or children. And we
Right.
want all violence to end. But so when it becomes that toxic and you see that happening, seek help. There's the authorities. If counseling has not materialized and you're not going through the process of communicating, help is necessary from the outside.
I really
All
believe that.
right.
Let me just go ahead and listen. Go ahead.
I was just thinking while you were talking, Reverend Morrison, about community. I know it wasn't mentioned in the letter, but the Black community usually have this sense of community. So there's the auntie, the grandmother, the neighbor. But I mean, how important is community with
Wow.
helping a situation like this?
You
Because
know,
I noticed that there was no talk of the grandma, the auntie down the road or so on, and this woman is feeling so pressured, but I don't hear of the community coming to assist her.
society has evolved in such a way, Lady Mitzi, that it's strange. We tend to becoming more fragmented and separated, even though we're seeking to clamor for unity. Uh,
Yes,
we heard the old adage that says it takes a village to raise a child.
yes,
That no longer seems to hold very well. You
I
will hear
tell
a
you.
parent saying, if you speak to my child a certain way, I'm going to deal with you. Normally, if you were on the road and another parent came and reported your misbehavior on the road, you'd get a spanking from the parent as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
If you speak too harshly to a youngster, no, the parent might come after you with a weapon to say you are not the parent, you should not have said anything. Or even if
that's
you
true.
and so the community, the issue of grandparents we seem to be moving from that. It's more that you hire someone to be with the child or a friend that you seek to leave. And most dangerously, this is the one that irks me the most. They go away and leave the child unattended.
Mm.
We have had so many cases in Jamaica
Wow.
where parents have gone to parties.
Mm-hmm. I've heard those stories too. Yeah, I've heard a bunch
The
of those
house
stories.
is burned to the ground and the child was
Mm-hmm.
in the house, burnt to nothing, just ashes. And so instead of us seemingly advancing the concept of village and community,
Yes.
we
Yes.
seem to be advancing, although we're saying it with our lips, the issue of I am not sure if I can trust you with my child, regardless of if you're a family. You see statements on social media such as, not because you're my blood mean you're my family. Don't know if you have ever seen such
Yes,
a
I have.
statement.
Yes, I have.
Mm-hmm.
And so I already resent you, believe that you resent me. I no longer believe in that village community sort of space. I now believe in, hey, I will do this my way. I will find someone else. And so if it's a friend, or even now we're seeing this more and more, children being abandoned, it's sad. It's a sad reflection of where we're at as society. I'm hoping to see a return.
Yes.
Pastor Morris. As I'm hearing this conversation, and I'm thinking a couple of things. A lot of people, black folks in this case, don't know who they are. A lot of us don't know who we are, even to get in the race.
Yes.
And so you have the natural proclivity to want to be with someone. All right. And it happened from young. We want to have some kind of commitment or some kind of relationship or relations, or just to have that a sense of belonging and love and so forth. And there's such a miseducation, even in the church, from a church perspective, that has the community such as at the heartbeat of their situation, and fail to sometimes, and the few that does it is just not enough to really empower these people that this thing is real life here, and it's not a joke. There is a, I mean, there is a, I believe, a strong force against what looks like God in the earth, and a
Yes.
marriage represents that. So you go into
Yes.
marriage not know who you are, you're already coming up against a real strong force already, who doesn't want to have that picture surface at all.
Yeah.
And so I would say, and maybe you can address it real quick before we close out. I look at this lady, maybe I can encourage her in this way. And I don't know the situation is entirety, but I don't know if this man is checked out yet. Maybe he's checked out already. Maybe you've checked out too. But I
Wow.
think that if does he feel encouraged as a male that he's doing a good job, maybe in his own ignorance, right?
Yeah.
That he knows that, listen, man, you're working hard, you're doing a good job. Thank you so much. Does he feel that? Then he can say, hey, no, we need to get this done. Maybe he's heard the complaint or the cries of your heart, which is legitimate. But maybe in his mind he's saying, but hey, have you heard me? So maybe no one is hearing each other in this case. So maybe there's a way you can reach out and say, you know what? Hey, you're doing a great job. You're working hard for the family. Thank you. But maybe even listening, you know what? Let me hear your story. Christ always give the good part of the thing, then he gets into the part that needs work on. You tend to kind of, hey, I see where you're good here. I see that's working here, but no, can we address this right now? So maybe that approach can work. I don't know. That's a thought.
DJ KT, what you just said, I believe the downfall is the value we place on ourselves. We have forgotten that we are kings and queens and princes and princesses.
And we are.
We're not fulfilling that standard. In 1983, I went to North Carolina at a conference. At the time, apartheid was rife in South Africa, and we had a conference of over 3,000 persons, and only 6 of us there were black. The organizers deliberately decided to put a paper out for us to answer both white and black community. And as I said, the black community was only 6 of us from Jamaica, really. And on it, it said, blue-eyed, blonde-haired persons are bright, black persons are lazy. And you were to answer true or false to a lot of questions that came out that were really serious stereotypes. And I answered all of them because of knowing my identity. When we came out, the other guy said, oh, I just tear the paper. I said, look here. Persons can say anything they want about me. But I must know who I am, that regardless of what they say, I know my value. And I will always walk out my value. When I was a manager of a retail store, I used to sit and eat with everyone. I just go in the lunchroom. And I remember when I came out once, someone said to me, say, you're the manager, you know, you're not supposed to do that. You don't want to go down to their level. And I said to them,
wow.
I said to them, yes, this was one of the junior staff workers as well saying this to me, not another person of senior management. And, you know, I'm so reminded that Jesus came down to our level when you couldn't get to it.
That's right.
That if we see ourselves and know who we are, it doesn't matter where we go, we'll continue to represent because of knowing who we are. And so they asked me, how is it I don't see you having a problem with the oppressors and those? I said, those guys didn't oppress me. And if they feel that I am less than who they think I am, I don't have a problem. They do. When I walk in who I know I am and what I do, I don't even have to say to anyone who I am. They will see who I am. And so one day, a gentleman came in. He was opening some bags of biscuits on the shelf, taking them out one by one. And he saw me look at him. And he says, I want to speak with the manager. I want to speak with the manager. No, I am the manager of the store, but I wasn't letting him know. I said, I can take you to the manager. Let's go. And I carried him to the office, have him sit in the chair right beside the manager's desk. And then I sat in the chair and said, yes, sir, how may I help you? And his mouth fell wide open. Because guess what? He did not know I was the manager. But guess who knew who was the manager? I did. I didn't have to, hey, I'm the manager. And you need to know that I'm the manager. If in relationships we'll recognize who we are and do well by what we are, and and everyone is recognizing that, then community will work. But when we are combative and seeing the other person as competition, then empowerment means how do I get stronger to beat you down, as opposed to how to work together and just a value system. You know,
Good point.
And it has to start with individuality. Individuality, it takes a little match to start a fire going. I light all those other persons. There's a saying that I made that I believe is just so awesome one day when someone was worried about persons getting up and them losing their individuality, even in a marriage. I said, look here, a candle lighting another candle never loses its flame. It only causes the place to become brighter.
Wow, I like that.
A candle lighting another candle never loses its flame. It only causes the place to become brighter. And when we can give that to persons, we will find that relationships will become brighter, community will become brighter. It sounds idealistic, mainly because it is, yet we have to start from somewhere. I don't remember which one of these great writers walking along the seashore. There were thousands of starfishes that were washed up on the shore. Yes? And he started walking and picking up and throwing back into the sea. And someone saw him doing that and said to him, Hey, you really think you're making a difference? There are thousands of them. You can't help all of them. And it said as he bent down, he picked up one more, threw it into the sea, and said, I bet it helped that one. You may not be able to help the masses, but you can help those who you meet going along daily. And if we have that approach in marriage, in relationship with our children, we'll find that when we seek to help in that way, but also seeking most often, what help do you need? Like this young lady, this young 33-year-old lady, she needs help with the children. She needs help to emotionally deal with all that is happening. She needs physical support. She needs emotional support. She needs counsel. She needs a vacation actually as well.
That's right.
She
As
needs
a matter of fact, I think we should reach out to her. Maybe give her a day, a ladies' day, at the spa. Maybe something together. Maybe have a nice treat. Hey, I think we can do that for her. I think we'd like to do that for her.
And for the gentleman, here's what I suggest. I remember once I couldn't get a gentleman to come to counseling, and I called him up one day and said, "Boss, international audience, sir." I'm inviting you. Come and go eat piece of chicken. Let's go to KFC and have some chicken. And he came and we sat and we chatted for almost 3 hours. And at the end of the 3 hours, he said to me, "You just counseled me, didn't you?" And I said, "Right, you are, sir." Men tend not to be relaxed. They put up a defense long before getting to the counseling session, that unless they're relaxed, they're not going to open up. You're talking about emotional? That's emotion for you. Men are very emotional. He already has internalized what will be said to him and how it will be said. And most often in his mind, he believes he's already in the wrong, no, that he's about to be quashed. We had such a meeting before, and one man got up and said, "We don't come to you, counselors, because you're going to defend the woman even before you hear what we have to say."
Wow.
He's in the midst of 200 men at a conference. You counselors are automatically going to defend the woman, and so we don't come. And that was the first time I got that jarring of my life, thinking that that was one of the main reasons men don't attend counseling. They have already lost before getting there. They are seeing again not competition, combativeness, as opposed to reconciliation working out. I lose again. He doesn't come home early because he can't win the argument, so he stays out with friends, plays dominoes until the morning. She's fast asleep. Yes, I can come now. I can have peace of mind. I don't have to face this. He goes to the bar, he drinks, he all these maladaptive behaviors, detrimental to his own health. He believes it's an escape route, but it only leads to death and more severe financial crisis. But he's not worried about that. As far as he's concerned, emotionally, not speaking with someone who he believes he can't have a conversation with, that his side will be heard and be registered to. As far as he's concerned, all he needs to do is listen. It's something that we have to help our men with as well.
Well, I tell you, this has been a very strong segment here, I believe. We're just about winding down, Lady Misty. We're just about winding down, and yeah.
Yeah, it has been a very, thought-provoking conversation tonight. And I do hope and trust that the person that wrote in has listened and has gained some kind of support for her situation. Reverend Morrison, any closing remarks to this viewer? How does she reposition herself, so that her relationship with her children and by extension her husband will be better?
Well, as pastor, I know many persons hate to hear the cliche about praying, but one of the things I love to do is consult with God as to what direction to take.
Yes.
If you're not a prayer person, I mean, we pray for you, but one of the things, again, prayer is not about just saying some words to God. You need to listen to hear what actions you must take. And most often,
Yes.
I think that's where we fail in the options that we need to take. You know,
Okay.
faith without works is dead. There must be accompanying action to any prayer. It may be that God is saying, go and get professional help. Go and seek the help of that friend next door. Sit
Yes.
with your husband and tell him that you love him. Husband, sit with your wife and tell her that you love her. You know, it may be any of those things. But really, I believe prayer is practical. Many persons don't think it is. So it's one of my first practical steps. The second practical steps is as best as you can, as compassionate as you can, without hesitation or fear.
Yes.
Reopen the lines of communication without quarreling.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah,
Most
well said.
often, how we approach the situation will give us either I love to differentiate between reaction and response, although a reaction is a response, a knee-jerk response, as opposed to a thought-out, planned response that will elevate, encourage, and ensure to empower both parties involved. Uh,
All
One of
right.
the ways I love to tell persons, especially where it involves forgiveness, you have done me wrong. I don't
Mm-hmm.
come to you and tell you, hey, look here, say, you have done me wrong. I love to say
Yes.
the best way to approach most often, whether or not you think the person is empowered to hold you down after you have done it, is come to the person and say, hey, I know I've gone wrong with some stuff. You may even want to say them, I'm asking for your forgiveness. It is strange that will just hit the combativeness out of the other individual because they thought you were coming to accuse them, beat them up, tell them also,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I have the children and I'm really feeling bad. You may see me reacting badly to the children. Please forgive me for what you say. You know, it's not about commenting on the other person's wrong. I can tell you this: 7 times out of 10, the other person will begin to admit their wrongs and say, "I should not have either." But when I come
Yes.
to you and say, "Look here, sir, this you do me," talk about how you felt by what they did as opposed to you do this. It helps as well. If we can approach it systematically like that without and I'm not saying excuse someone's wrong, and I love to tell persons forgiveness is never excusing someone wrong. Once you're talking about forgiveness, it means wrong has been committed.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong has been committed. It's not about excusing wrong. Wrong has been committed, which has caused me pain. And although you have caused me pain, I'm saying to you, I don't want to hurt anymore. I'm tired of hurt. Let's see how you can either prevent further hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I have been dealing and I've dealt with the past. Let's not move forward like this.
Nice,
All
Doctor
right.
Pastor
Great
Morris.
way. Great
Yes,
way to end. Yes.
yes,
I
I think
know
we're
that
there.
Dr. Candice is having some connection issues, but we want to thank her so much
Yes,
for
we
her
do.
time here tonight and for sharing with us. I know that she would have loved to be here to
And she's been
share
trying to get
her
on to. She's been trying very hard to
closing
get on.
remark.
Yes,
Yes, I
yes.
see that as well.
So
I
we
want to thank
understand.
you so much, Pastor Courtney Morrison, for coming through again.
Yes,
And I
yes,
want
yes,
to
yes.
wish you a very, very happy birthday this week
Enjoy,
from the
enjoy.
LTR family.
That's right. Big up, big up.
Yes, I see you celebrating already, and I'm so happy
Yeah.
for that. I want to wish you a very, very happy birthday when it comes. I know you're going to enjoy it. I'm seeing it
Yes.
already.
Uh-huh.
All right. I want to thank as well all the persons who came through tonight, who joined us over there on Facebook, on YouTube, those who have
Yes.
listened to us on Yumi
We love
Radio
you
and
guys.
all
We
the
love
other
you guys.
platforms. We love you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Let's Talk Talk Relationships. For the person who wrote in, we thank you so much for your letter. Please continue to communicate with us. We want to provide that support for you. Yes, Reverend Morrison, I see your hand.
Please offer her my number, and if she wants,
Yes.
I would love the husband number. I enjoy trying to get to the men, especially in situations
Yes.
like this, to see how best to address situations
Okay.
like this.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Reverend Marcel. We will surely do that. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. This has been Let's Talk Relationships here on UME Radio. We will see you same place, same time next week. Have yourself a good night.
All righty, y'all. Enjoy.
Good night. Bless you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, anytime, every time.
Indeed.
Let's talk
Relationships on UME
Radio. So what are we talking about?
Marriage, dating, parenting, business,
and love, emotions, sex.
It's a conversation with me, Lady Misty,
and DJ KTV
on everything from hot topics to taboos.
Join us Mondays at 9 p.m. live on UME Radio.
Follow us at Let's Talk Relationship Show on Facebook or on UME Radio on Instagram. Let's talk relationships. Arguments for the grown.
Get the UME Radio app to listen wherever you are. That is UME Radio. One word.
UME Radio. Positive entertainment 24/7. Subscribe on YouTube and click the notification bell.